Welcome to our 30-minute live Q&A session. I'm Ify, your go-to immigration lawyer. Come on in. Today we're going to discuss U and T visas. We're going to cover eligibility requirements, application timelines, and after that, I'll answer your immigration questions, okay? Give me a thumbs up in the comments if you can hear me. I'm excited. Today's the first day of the month, so exciting to be here, to be alive. We thank God for all that privilege. We're excited at this law firm as well to have you all as clients, as supporters. Thank you for being here. We're going to be offering different types of promotions this month, so stay tuned. If you're not following us, make sure you follow so we can share all these great and wonderful things with you. We're going to have a Valentine's Day promotion coming up pretty soon. And also, it's Black History Month, guys. So happy Black History Month. We're looking forward to having some deals to celebrate our heritage and just enjoy being immigrants in America. All right. Thank you for joining. Welcome, welcome. All right, we'll start with talking about U and T visas. But before I get into that, I just want to make a quick announcement. That's breaking news in immigration right now. It's starting April 1st. I think I just confirmed that. April 1st, there's going to be an increase in USCIS government fees. I made a post about it where I compared all the exact increase you would expect, but that's happening, guys. So if you're currently eligible for any type of green card application, or if you're not sure what you're eligible for, listen to this live. We're talking about U and T visas. So you may find you're eligible for any type of legal status, so you can quickly apply before the fees go up, okay? Very important, okay? So start now. Follow us for tips. We're coming live, and also follow us to learn about our promotions to help you get access to legal service and get your freedom in America, all right? Welcome, guys, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, TikTok, guys, already here with the questions. I'm going to answer your questions afterwards. We're going to talk right now about U and T visas. We're going to talk about eligibility requirements. We're going to talk about application timelines. And then after that, I'll answer your questions. All right? Thank you for being here. Let me know where you're watching me from. Hey, girl, that's Myra. Let me know where you're watching me from. I'm excited. I'm here in Charlotte. It's pretty cold today. But, you know, we're out here doing this live. I have my warm drink, okay, from Cameroon. Wow. Thank you, Myra, for being here. All right. So let's get into the topic. What are U and T visas? This is important to know for those of you who are immigrants in the USA. You don't have any relatives, or you're not sure how you can adjust your status. U and T visas are a secret way that a lot of people just don't talk about because it requires being a victim of certain crimes. And people go through different things, especially immigrants, and they don't talk about it. So you may not have discussed this with anyone, but if you're watching me right now, you're an immigrant in the USA, you may qualify for a U or a T visa, which could eventually help you get legal status in the USA, okay? So what are the requirements? What do you need? U and T visas, they're designed to help victims who have suffered from physical abuse or have been a victim of a crime. Even domestic violence is one of the crimes. And you're willing to help law enforcement with actually figuring out or putting someone away for the crimes. Okay? That's essentially the bottom line of what a U and T visa does. That's why it exists. All right? It is somewhat similar to a valid self petition, But the main difference is you don't need to have a relative to qualify for U or T visa. All right? So for valid health petitions, you need to have a U.S. citizen spouse or a parent or child be verbally abusive, physically abusive. But for U or T visa, you just need to meet the eligibility requirements, be in the USA currently, because the crimes have to be in the USA to be prosecuted in the USA, okay? And you could qualify. All right, let's go through some eligibility criteria. And if you have questions, keep them coming. We'll try to get to them. Not sure if you can see the ones on TikTok, Patricia, but there's some questions coming in. I'll try not to miss them, but we're live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. So TikTok, already a lot more questions. Guys on YouTube and Facebook, feel free to ask your questions. We'll get to them at the end, okay? All right, so eligibility criteria. First things is you need to be a victim of a crime. You need to have proof that you're a victim of a crime. All right, a crime that involves severe trafficking. Not only sex trafficking, is usually labor trafficking. That's the one that a lot of people miss because, like I said, immigrants, we we're trained to accept certain things as being okay. But you find out that a lot of people are being labor trafficked. You come into the USA on your your non-immigrant visa, and someone promises you to file for you or do something, work, something, they will employ you. The next thing they employ you and you find yourself working and nobody's paying you. That's labor trafficking. Okay. And you don't have the freedom to actually leave, or they threaten you with immigration. I'm gonna, call ICE or do something because you're working illegally or something like that. And now you're trapped. Okay. It could be sex trafficking as well. That one is more known, right? When you hear trafficking, everyone's thinking sex trafficking. Okay. Involuntary servitude, things like that. Those are the types of activities that if you find that you're in such a situation, you could be eligible for a U or T visa. So now keep in mind that every situation is going to be different. So not meeting just one criteria doesn't mean like, oh yes, I could definitely file. Because people will call and be like, I saw a meme the other day. Someone's like, someone stole something from my car. Can I file for a U visa? Because it's a crime, right? And they're a victim. But that's not the type of crime we're talking. Severe types of crimes. So make sure you're consulting with an attorney to talk about your eligibility for a U or T visa. Okay. And thank you, T. I love my afro today. So, let's see, what's the next one for a U visa? Another criteria is that you're physically present in the USA. Like I said, these are crimes that they're going to prosecute in the US court. So sometimes I get calls from people who are victims of domestic abuse and violence from their US citizen spouse. He comes to wherever they live and is abusive towards them. And in those cases, it's a little tricky because they're not in the USA. Okay, so that's hard when I hear those types of things. But the requirements usually is being physically present here. Okay. And if you are under 18, basically, you may qualify. If you're under 18 and you're stuck in any type of situation where you don't have anyone to file for you and you're maybe living with an uncle or an aunt and essentially you don't have your green card, you need to contact an attorney ASAP, because in that situation, you could be potentially removed, right? If you don't have legal status or you don't have a green card, you could get deported at any time. But if you're under 18, there are special protections for minors under 18. So reach out to an attorney ASAP. You're able to get legal representation to get your immigration status corrected, because at that point, you're just a victim of so many other things just because of that age difference. You're not even an adult. So you definitely need to contact an attorney like ASAP. Okay. And if you meet these criteria, you can then file file with the USCIS, essentially. Now, this is not going to give you a green card right away, okay? Because the petition process is just one thing. We're going to go get a statement from the police. You need to talk to the police in your area or whoever is like prosecuting the crime and make your statement and get a statement, and they're going to help you with the application. So there are several steps involved. So if you've been a victim, that's not where it stops, okay? We're going to involve the law enforcement, make sure we get a statement. Sometimes it gets a little tricky there because there are certain crimes they may try to minimize the effects. But the thing is, as an immigrant going through any form of abuse, you're already at a disadvantage just because you're an immigrant and you don't have legal status. Is unlike a U.S. citizen going through the same types of things because they're U.S. citizens. Like it's quite different. So being an immigrant puts you in a vulnerable position. You always need legal representation, and that's why we are here. That's essentially the mission I have with my law firm, to represent immigrants, give them confidence to be able to go for things that they actually deserve, things they may not realize they deserve, but give you that confidence through our legal process. Okay? Okay? I see more questions coming in. I'm going to go through all the requirements quickly and then talk about some timeline for the processing. Like I said earlier, it does take a while, but I'll tell you what's currently going on with the timeline for processing your T visas. But nonetheless, I know that at least after a year, 12 months, which is typical for really any category, you can get your work permit. So this is the hope that I have for a lot of my clients that I help with their U and T visa petitions, is that they can get a work permit and be able to thrive in the USA while healing from the traumas they've experienced from the abuse, okay? This is not something to take lightly. It is you need, most of the time we will recommend you to go to a therapist because you need to heal before you can even start thriving and then getting your status. There are so many steps and so many different things that go on, and our goal here at the Marriage Green Card Law Firm is to help immigrants. I'm from Nigeria. Many of you have been following me, you know that already. To help immigrants get that freedom and start living their best in the USA. You don't have to continue being a victim of what you went through, all right? You can find freedom from that situation, all right? Okay, so the next thing I have to talk about, I believe, is the timeline. I kind of spoke about the eligibility for T and U altogether because it kind of merges in. I think the major differences is one is crime and one is trafficking. Okay, but when it comes to the effects on the immigrants, it kind of intertwines, and this is where having the therapist evaluation comes in, so we can know your mental states as to these things. Like if you're scared for your life, if you're a victim of a crime, there are different ones that we've seen here. Usually, well, domestic violence is a typical one because we also do VAWA cases here. But domestic violence, if you're in a family, let's just say your stepfather or somebody, is just that whole type of relationship, it can really get complicated. So with U visas, T visas, you definitely need a therapist evaluation. You need police reports. You need some assistance with getting the law enforcement to support you with this application. And then the USCIS makes a decision on whether you get deferred action, because that's essentially what it is. So deferred action, and after a couple of years, you're qualified to apply for a green card. So that's essentially your path to getting your green card legal status. All right? So I want to answer some questions, just kind of take a pause, answer some questions, and then we'll talk about the timeline briefly. That's not is similar to most of the timelines you will expect with most immigration cases. So this is nothing too shocking. But let me get some questions in. Let's see here. And then we can talk about the processing times. All right. Okay. Questions. All right. Okay. How long? I see a question from Ray Michael. I think this might be from TikTok. But thank you for watching, Ray. I've seen Ray in some of my other lives before, but thank you for being here. How long are marriage-based green cards these days? I just moved my case to Minnesota. Great question, Ray. This is in line with what I'm about to talk about next, which is a timeline question. So, timeline for marriage-based green card these days is about 10 months max to 10 months minimum to 24 months. It's usually, so it depends on where you are. Let me just add that in there because I've seen green cards approved in 3 months, okay? So it depends on where you are, but for the most part, 10 months you would expect to be called for an interview. Sometimes you may not get an interview. It really just depends, okay? Every case is different. Every person, depending on evidence, depending on how long they've been together, all those factors. Okay, for marriage-based green cards specifically, that's how I'll answer that for you. I see a question on TikTok from Giovanni Green. Giovanni, thank you for being here. So let's see. This says, I got my citizenship, but I need my American passport. Okay? So it seems like you naturalize and you're ready to travel and you need to get your passport. I'm assuming your question is how to get that passport? Or do you have more to say? I recently actually got that question from someone, how to get their passport, how to become a citizen, I think for their child, I think. But essentially, if you just naturalize and you have a naturalization certificate, that's the most important thing you need. Just go to a USPS, actually, and they have the applications for your passport. All right? So let me know if that answers your question. Give me a thumbs up. But I'll get into the processing timelines for U&T visas. And if you're just joining, guys, my name is Ify. I'm your go-to immigration attorney for family-based immigration and other visas like U&T visas. These are humanitarian visas to help immigrants who don't have relatives, who have they've lived in the U.S. for years and potentially have experienced some type of trafficking or being a victim of certain crimes, not every crime, okay, but certain crimes, and they could potentially get their green card through this process. So that's what we're talking about today. The final thing I'm going to say is the processing timeline for this. Someone already asked me a timeline question, and I'm going to get into all your questions. I see them coming in on TikTok, so I'm going to just go as much as I can through it. But make sure you give us a call or text. My number is on the screen. If you need extra time or need to discuss in detail, I'm going to try to answer the questions as quickly as I can so that I can get through all the ones I'm seeing. But if you need one-on-one discussion about your particular issue, I'm able to help you during a one-on-one consultation, okay? All right, so timeline. If you're processing your U&T visa and you want to know essentially when you're going to get your green card, like I said, if you get approved for a U visa, this does not mean that it's a green card, right? It just means that you won't get approved anymore. I'm sorry, you won't get deported anymore because without status, you could be deported at any given time. If you get picked up for a trafficking offense, they'll figure out, okay, you don't have a green card and so on and so forth. That's how that works, okay? Well, if you have a U visa, approved U visa, you don't get deported, all right? But the processing time to get that can be between 12 months to even 4 years. So 1 to 4 years, essentially, to get that approved. And within that time, the hope is that you will get your work permit. And if you all were paying attention last year, I believe maybe October, the USCIS changed the policy to include what was the policy about the work permits to make it 5 years, because cases are still taking 2 years. There's still that backlog. They're trying to work hard to improve. And I think the fee increase that's part of the excuses, right? They're saying in order to get more resources, technology, manpower, whatever they need to speed up these cases, they need to increase the fees. And, after COVID, I think there's been inflation in the economy. So that's the whole rhetoric of the fee increase, right? So let's see if that really changes things. Maybe when they increase the fees, things will start moving quicker. But for right now, visa can take 1 to 4 years, okay? If you qualify for certain expedition requirements, like some humanitarian reasons, usually humanitarian reasons or financial reasons are the only things that USCIS will consider for an expedite. So if you qualify for any of that, maybe you can ask to expedite. But otherwise, if you're waiting and you have your work permit, I always encourage my clients, go forth and do the things that you love and just enjoy this life. Because at the end of the day, once you get that green card, if you haven't worked on yourself, maybe gone to therapy, healed yourself, figured out what you really love doing, and you're doing those things, getting a green card is not going to solve all the problems. All right. It's just going to be one of the things. It's going to open up the opportunities for sure. That's why we're fighting for our clients, making sure you get proper legal status, something that's going to keep you in the U.S., especially if you don't have anywhere else to return to. You live in the U.S. for 10, 15 years at this point. Like, you don't know any other place. Okay. To some people, the home is not safe. Okay. I've talked to some of you many of you watching me right now, you already know, we've discussed all the other options. If home is not safe, you can do asylum. If you don't qualify for asylum, maybe the number of years have passed, you may qualify for a U or a T. Okay, so these are the options available for you. Just consult with a lawyer, figure out what you can do at this point. If you've already overstayed 10, 15 years, that unlawful presence has really kicked in, okay? So if you want to be able to travel, if you want that freedom, again, these are the ways, okay? And if you're not following me, make sure you hit the follow, because I'm going to be sharing all this tea to help you all get free. Okay, I just rhymed. I just figured that out right now. Sharing the tea so we can get free. So funny. But anyways, I'm going to get into the questions right now, but I want to encourage you all to give me a call. Let's talk one-on-one so that we can help you get on your path to your green card. And then after that, after 5 years, you can become a U.S. citizen. You can travel all over the world, do whatever it is your heart desires, and that's the ultimate goal. All right? So thank you for watching. Let's get into the questions. All right. So, and if I miss your question because you asked way in the beginning, please ask again now that we're in the Q&A time. I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes or so going over these questions real quickly. And if you have more, tomorrow, actually, if you have more, then our one-on-one consult on the Facebook group tomorrow will be perfect. So join the group, figure out about that, ask your question. We answer your question specifically, and then go from there. All right, Jota. Thanks for asking your question. I saw your question before, so I appreciate you asking it again. So I'm going to answer you first. Your question says, if I violated immigration laws by working outside, can you still apply for a merit-based green card? Okay. So Jota is asking about filing a green card when he worked unauthorized in the USA. And the short answer is yes, you can file for a green card. You still qualify. You're still eligible. If you are inadmissible, however, because of any violations whatsoever, you may qualify to file a hardship waiver. Hardship waiver simply means that if you get deported, it's going to cause hardship to your spouse. Okay? So you can file for your marriage-based green card, but you potentially need a hardship waiver. Sometimes spouse gets automatically waived on whatever inadmissibilities sometimes, okay? But it really just depends on your specific situation. If it's just working unauthorized, most people are working unauthorized these days, so that's like a pretty common inadmissibility, all right? Okay, thanks for your question. I hope that answers, and I hope you call us when you're about to file for your marriage-based green card, because that's what we do. We help with marriage-based green card, people filing, parents filing for their children, children filing for their parents, just all family, okay? Plus, use T's, VAWAs, other humanitarian visas that if you don't have a family member, you can still file, okay? You're welcome, Jota. All right. All right, I have another question that says, my passport has expired. Can I still apply for adjustment or marriage without it? Bashtuni, how do you say your name? Anthony? What's the BSH? Okay, so expired passport, that's a pretty common one as well. Can I file for my marriage-based green card without this? So my first answer is always no, because during the interview, right, you need to present original documents. And for the most part, it's best if your passport is not expired at that point. But to apply the first time, I've had clients who their passport expired and we just basically applied because time was of the essence and all of that. So we apply. Is there a reason why you can get another passport? Shantoni? Wow. Are you a lady? Shantoni. That's so cool. That's like the female version of Anthony. Never heard that before. Okay. So, okay, you're waiting on your new passport. Okay, good. So, Shantoni, I think you're fine. You can apply to adjust your status. You're waiting on your new passport. Highest, they'll send you RFE, and then you send your new passport. So this is not a problem. All right. So, Lysandra, let me know if that answers your question. Give me a thumbs up. Lysandra says, does military PIP require biometrics exam? The PIP itself, no, but during the application, the other parts of it, yes, for the intending immigrant. Yeah? Okay. Let me know if that answers your questions. And like I said, if you need more one-on-one counseling, just reach out to me. These lives, we're just giving general guidance and trying to answer hundreds and hundreds of people. So give me a thumbs up if I answered your question, at least to a point that you feel a little bit like this gave you some value for this live. Okay. All right. More questions here. Good afternoon. Someone says, can a church sponsor members? I'm guessing this is about a religious visa. This is another special category of visas, and we actually help clients with this category. For fun fact for you all, I actually came into the U.S. as a beneficiary of a religious visa. So churches can sponsor individuals to get their visas, and then from that point on, after a certain amount of years, just like with the U and the T, you can get your green card and so on and so forth, okay? So it's a whole 10 to 20 year journey, but here we are, right? So, but for this question for sponsoring members, it's actually quite, I don't want to say like a yes or a no. I think it really depends, right? Because how long have you been a member, and what is your involvement in this church? Like, what are you really contributing or doing? Because that's the criteria for the R1 visa, essentially. You need to be contributing. Are you a member that maybe speaks this like unique language that they need you to like interpret or something, That type of stuff will determine if a member could be in a different category than just a member, because at that point you're a church worker. You're doing something for the church. You feel me? Thank you for your question, Doe. I hope that helped someone. Give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying this live, if you're getting value. And if you're watching this after it already aired, my number is on the screen. I'm Ify. I'm an immigration lawyer. I help all over the USA, and I can help you. All right? All right, more questions. This is from BX. BX has been waiting for 5-6 years for a marriage visa. And there's a number to call, or is there a number to call in Jamaica? 5-6 years? Dang. BX, are you sure? When was the last time you heard from the MVC? That's too long. 5-6 years makes no sense. You probably need to sue the government at this point. That is ridiculous. The highest I've ever seen for marriage-based green card was like 24 months max. And at that point, we're about to scream, and they just approved it, because I was like, let me just see you all try to go into 25 months, and they didn't do it. But that was, all during the COVID time, so they had an excuse, right? But 5-6 years is nuts. Hell no. So yeah, reach out to me. Let's talk about that, okay? Okay. A question from Yoli. At what point in the K1 process is the affidavits for financials submitted? Yoli, that's a great question. That will be at stage 2. So essentially for K1 process, and I had a K1 consultation this morning, so this is kind of fresh in my mind. For K1 process, I break it down into 3. Because that when you get a K1 visa, that's not a green card, that's just a visa. It's actually a non-immigrant visa. But the only difference is that you have dual intent with that type of visa, meaning you're allowed to come into the USA, get married to somebody, and get your green card, unlike every other non-immigrant visas, okay? So if you are a U.S. citizen and you qualify as a petitioner, you do stage 1. That's the first step. There are 3 steps, which is the I-29F petition. And then after that, when it gets approved, you do the DS-160, which is step 2. And at that point, you need to show some financials. And then at step 3, you also need to show more financials, which through the I-864 for the adjustment of status. So mostly in step 3, after you're married, but there might still be a requirement for an I-134 or something like that for step 2. But it's not the full thing, okay? In step 3, they will ask you for like 3 years of taxes. They want to see like a whole bunch of things. And that will, that's where you're really going to need to prove that you earn enough to actually support the petition. And it's based on the poverty guideline, based on your household size and all of that. All right. Okay. Another question from, who else? Who's this? Okay. I already answered the how long does it take for U.S. spousal visa. In case you missed it, it's taking 10 months minimum or 24 months maximum, except you are God's favorite child and yours comes out in 3 months, okay? And that has happened. And I'm just like, how does it feel? How does it feel to be God's favorite child? Yeah. Thea says she's scrolling by and her green card is approved. Congrats. And you have the same coffee mug. Congrats. So you were cat people, huh? Definitely a cat lady and love it. I don't even know why. Well, I guess being African, they had all these connotations about cats. So I was like, it's just ignorance, guys. Cats are cute. Cats are cute. So, someone says I need marriage. Boy. Someone says, okay, Yoli, I just answered your question. Yoli, I hope you're still here. Thank you for re-asking your question. I see more questions coming up and I hear my cats in the background, but I think we still have a few more minutes and then I'll hop off. But it's really been fun talking to you all. And T says, Afro is fire. Thank you. And I think I've pretty much caught up to all of this because I saw Myra and who else? Yeah, Shantany. Okay, we got it. All right. Awesome, guys. This has been a wonderful live. I'm excited to share with you all every week, twice a week, and 3 times for those who are in the group. So we're sharing value, we're answering questions, and in the hopes that you find your freedom in the USA and live your fullest life. I want you all to give me a call. Let's talk about your immigration case. If you're not married, that's fine. There are different ways to get a green card. Okay, so give us a call. Let's talk about ways to get your green card, what you qualify for. My contact, if you're on TikTok, my information is going to be in bio, so you can reach out. All right. Janelle Francis, I missed your question. Okay. I do SIJS King Jr. SIJS stands for Special Immigrant Juvenile. For those who are under 18, I believe I talked about that. Also for those who are under 18, also going through any type of trafficking situation or basically being a victim of a crime. You could also qualify for SIJS, so there's that one. So Janelle, I didn't forget about you. This stuff always rings, but that's y'all calling me. Thank you. We'll get to you. But Janelle says, I've been working, but not on a permit. I'm going to adjust my status. Will it affect anything? Janelle, I believe I talked about that earlier. I think it was with, who asked that question? Someone asked about violating immigration by working. So that's pretty common. And if anything, you would apply for a waiver of inadmissibility, a hardship waiver. You have to prove that your deportation, well, you and your U.S. citizen spouse have to prove that your deportation will cause hardship to the U.S. citizen, right? So that's what you'll do in that case. All right. Who else? I think I answered. If I forgot, if I missed yours, I didn't forget. I just missed it. My apologies. Call me. Click the link in my bio, and I would love to talk with you one-on-one. All right. All right. From Dallas, yes, we can help you. We help clients all over the USA to file their green cards and file other immigration benefits that they qualify for. So, yes, for sure. All right. King Jr., let's chat after that. You can also send me a WhatsApp message. My WhatsApp is going to be the link in bio and also the number, the 919-925 number. So just find me on WhatsApp. Let's chat about your questions once we get off the live. Okay? Thank you for being here, you guys. You make it worthwhile. I appreciate all of you. And thank you, Patricia, so much for your help. This was great. All right. Have a great one, guys. Bye-bye.